insert something to make the audience leave their chair.
Right.
Nothing like that was in there, but there were startling moments that were kind of like, surprise.
Yeah.
That kind of took you aback.
But like I said, for me, it was the moments that caught me off guard that made this, I'm sure some people are going like, why on earth are they talking about this as a horror movie or whatever?
Because this actually is on record. The genres that Netflix put them in anyway is thrillers and suspense.
Okay.
Same as last week's.
Well, this was...
So last week's did have more horror elements.
Yeah.
Though this has horror elements.
Oh, it definitely does. There's some very upsetting and gross stuff in there.
You keep saying gross. It's funny because I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Well,
it's not a blood and guts gory movie. It's PG-13. It definitely depends. It depends. I'm sorry. It's so hot in here. My brain's not working right. It depends on the suspense and the what the hell is going on moments for its rating, I guess.
Right. And it's interesting because I was going to compare this to, I was going to compare it actually to The Village, only in my personal experience that I had my suspicion about what was going on here or what had happened or what was happening. And I was correct, but it went so far beyond what I initially thought. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay, well, I mean, it probably makes sense to you because you've seen the movie at this point. So this is for anybody that hasn't.
Right.
I
wish I hadn't seen it so that I could watch it again.
I guess that's probably about the highest recommendation you can give to anything. Yeah,
it's one of those that, because of course it's M. Night Shyamalan, so he's gone back to his classic,
twist.
Yeah, and I almost hate to say that, but...
Yeah, because that kind of cheapens...
Yeah, but it's better than that, though.
Yeah. And what I was going to say was The Village, and I know a lot of people hated The Village, but first 5 minutes of The Village, I, through sheer accident, nailed what was going on, because I leaned over to you in the theater and, asked you about the twist, which eventually we got to.
Well, you were like, what time period is this? What exactly...
And
and then and then you get thinking and you think too much
But with this one, like I said, I had a suspicion as to what might be happening, where they might be going with it, but it went there and then so much further.
That's right. Yeah. And you had another twist that you thought was maybe going on and it was something else. And I don't remember what you said now, but I was like, that would have been a really good twist too. So yeah, it was good.
So it was a fun movie to play along with. I guess that's the point I'm getting at. So.
Well, I can tell you the top review on Netflix that the most people found helpful. This guy starts out by saying, "This comes from an official M. Night Shyamalan basher. Over the years, he's stolen enough of my money and my time that I swore off any future efforts. Well, I was sucked in again and was pleasantly surprised."
Okay.
So he gave it a 4 out of 5, but if he's already a M. Night Shyamalan basher, I'm totally open to anything, and I still love him. I think he's an awesome storyteller, but I'm all about the story.
Right. Well, that's this podcast. We're all about the story.
Yes. And if he has a story to tell, I'm always going to give him my time and money.
Yeah.
Of course, we tried to give him our money, but we didn't get there in time to... It was out of the theater before we were able to go see it.
True enough.
We gave Netflix our money to see it. But,
yes, we are.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't think of anything that I did not like about it.
Would you watch it again?
I would.
Yeah, I was going to say, even despite knowing the twist, I think it was enjoyable enough and entertaining enough to watch again. Not immediately.
Yes. No. Well, and a lot of times when a movie has a twist, you go, oh, holy crap, why didn't I see that coming? Like, surely there were hints or clues or things along the way. So sometimes it's fun to watch it again and go, oh my gosh, like they were trying to tell us right there. Somebody said something or you saw something or somebody did something. Well,
that's like going back in, The Sixth Sense, going back to his first one there where you watch and you see all these clues over again. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
I don't know that you're going to get it with this one.
I don't know.
We will have to see it again and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it's, I would recommend it to anybody.
A high recommend, like I said, anybody, because again, it's all about the story for us.
Right.
Anybody that's listened to a couple of our podcasts and come back, because they enjoyed it, is going to get what I'm talking about and going to appreciate the story and be willing to give it and going to enjoy this, I think. I think everybody should watch it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, if you've avoided it for any reason, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want to see this.
Right.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, and there was we found ourselves laughing a little bit.
There was some black comedy there for sure.
It was, I guess we're back to saying this is not a horror movie.
Right.
I'm curious about some of these. It makes me want to look at some of these, really bad reviews that it got.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, did this person even watch it to the ending? This person said, what a stupid movie. Kids go to visit their grandparents they've never met, and the grandparents are weird. Mom's a loser. You know who's a loser. I'm just saying.
Anybody that gives a review without watching the whole damn film.
Well, I can't tell if they watched it or not.
It doesn't sound like that. Well,
they said, I have to just read the rest of this. They said that they thought that the level of cursing and violence was beyond PG-13, and it had lots of cliche, seen it before, done much better moments.
What?
Okay, I feel like this person didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Doesn't, you're wrong, mister. Okay.
I can't understand. Yeah, a lot of these people if you don't watch it to the end, then you didn't see the movie. I mean, we talk about that all the time anyway.
Right.
Especially if it's a movie that has a twist at the end and you don't get to the end.
Yeah.
That's like a whole new level of don't frickin' review the stinking movie, you ding dong. I'm so frustrated with people. It's really hot today. I could punch some of these people in the face. And I'm not generally a violent person.
You never know it listening to this podcast.
I know. I'm really not a violent person.
Let's reel it back in and we'll do some garbage in, garbage out.
All right.
Don't you know that we control the whole economy? We control the vertical too. We gonna make a couch potato out of you. That's what we gonna do now. Don't change the channel.
So we need to talk about our Game of Thrones muffins.
Game of Thrones muffins. Would you like to explain that?
No, I think I'll just leave it there. Well, yes, I'll explain that and stuff. I mean...
Well, I heard that Daenerys really enjoyed them.
Are you sure? I'm thinking that she may have even picked one of those up and said, I have been deceived. There are no raisins in this muffin, and probably put it right back. That's
Maybe.
my story. No, that's a deep cut for us playing Lord of the Rings, playing The Hobbit.
The Hobbit. Lego The Hobbit. Yes. Elf problems. Yeah.
Anyhow,
so we have a neighbor who lives across the street, and he is a lovely person. He's lived across the street from us for many years, and he works for a nice little restaurant down by the beach. And they were actually for the Emmy Awards that was just last week and a half ago, last weekend.
Yeah.
Their little restaurant was actually chosen to cater a party, and so he got to be there and cater to this party that had the entire cast of Game of Thrones. It was a HBO party, and there were lots of actors from different HBO shows, of course, but he was super jazzed because he got to see all of the Game of Thrones cast.
So I was saying, despite us being, not being ones to take pictures of our food, I insisted that you should have gotten at least a picture of the box or whatever before we gobbled.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Yes, for all we know,
Emilia
Clarke maybe held that in her hand, and maybe Peter Dinklage passed that one over. Yes. Never mind.
Maybe. Well, yes. So he came over and he brought a box with 2 gourmet muffins in it, and the box was a HBO themed little box.
Yeah. All right. So
if it was a Game of Thrones themed box, I probably would have thought to hang on to it just because it would have been like really weird and interesting.
All right.
Anyway, there you go.
Moving on to something else that might be interesting. What else do we have?
What segment are we doing?
We're doing our garbage in, garbage out.
Oh, okay.
interesting things that may have happened. That should have been the Crawling Chaos maybe for the show, but
Seriously. You never know. We may talk about that again someday.
Exactly.
Crawling Chaos segment is a one-shot deal, generally.
So I am listening to, I would say reading, but I read all my books through my ears, listening to the books on CD. Anyhow, Full Dark, No Stars by Stephen King, and I just finished 1922, which great line in there that poison spreads like ink in water. A good story that harkens back towards, I want to say a little bit towards the H.P. Lovecraft story a little bit, maybe Rats on the Walls perhaps or something. Earlier Stephen King anyhow. Not a ton happens in the story, but it's definitely a ghost story, and a lot happens, but it's at a slow pace.
But the book is an anthology.
The book is an anthology of multiple stories, like 4 Past Midnight.
And I'm sorry, what is
seasons?
And the name of the anthology or
Full Dark, No Stars?
Full Dark, No Stars.
Yes.
Okay. And this story is called
1922.
1922. So I'm assuming it takes place
or it starts in that year or whatever. A farmer and his son kill his wife and the boy's mother, and what happens to them just before the Depression.
Okay.
And so on. So,
have you read any of the other ones yet?
No, I'm starting on, Big Driver, I think, which seems more like, kind of like a House of a Thousand Corpses or Wrong Turn type story. Oh. Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely have to revisit this next week and let us know if the book is worth checking out.
Absolutely.
A whole.
What about you? You're still doing your Sookie Stackhouse.
Oh, Lordy. There's so many of those. Yeah. They're ridiculous. Just as ridiculous as they were the last time you asked me about them.
Mindless entertainment. Okay. Anything else?
Mindless. Super mindless entertainment.
I can't help but thinking of the vampire games that I used to DM or, was the keeper for.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, just that kind of crazy, wild interaction between werewolves, vampires, ghosts, mummies, monsters, those types of things.
And again, it takes place in the South. They're in Bontemps, Louisiana, and it's just the array of characters that you get in these books. It's just really amusing. I don't know. That's not generally the setting for a vampire story.
Right.
So, yeah. And of course, for those who didn't hear us talk about it last time, these are the book series that the True Blood series was based on.
HBO series was based on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the books are not anywhere near as blood and guts and sex as the series on TV was, but
so it does contain some.
A little, just a little.
Okay.
It's awkward. It could have just implied. I'm talking about the sex scenes, of course. Those were awkward. There's a little bit of blood and guts, but the writer Charlene Harris, she did a great job. I really enjoy her writing style, and everything is told from Sookie's point of view, so it's all in her, in her voice and her attitude and her way of seeing things. She's so disgustingly perky all the time. Like, there's things that people really hate about the books, but if you like one of them, I think you're going to like the whole entire series. And I can't remember how many there are. I've just been checking them out at the library, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and I'm probably on like 8 or something, and there's a few more. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, what else did you have for Garbage In, Garbage Out?
Oh, I don't know. We already talked about Z Nation last week.
Yeah.
It's back on, and we talked about
Scream Queens and so on. So, no, anything new? Well, maybe that's it then.
Anything new start? Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen started.
But we're getting ready to dump DishNet. Sorry, DishNet. We're just tired of you abusing us. Yeah.
I've never really had any problems with DishNet. We've had a few minor things here and there. They've been okay, but it's just time to get rid of TV.
Yeah, I mean, they're way better than Time Warner Cable.
Yeah.
Yes, I said their name. They suck. I hear nothing but complaints about them in our area.
Yeah.
Anyway. But so I think DishNet probably is one of the better ones. If you're still doing cable or dish, most people are going on to other alternatives, and our alternative is to just dump it all together and not replace it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see how that goes.